Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, wherever you are. It's just myself coming at you with another episode of Football Heritage. And this time we have a real football fan, a real guest, someone who supports a club who are not, shackled with wealth. And he's seen the good times and the bad times alike. It is my very good friend, Benjamin Gocher. So, Ben, in classic soccer AM style, name, club, and preferred position if you were ever to be a footballer.
Yeah, I'm Ben. I'm a Bolton Wanderers fan, believe it or not. And I used to play up front or on the wing when I was younger. I've not played football for quite a few years now, but yeah, I class myself as a goal hanging striker.
Very nice, very nice. Funnily enough, would you like to share with everyone the little fact you shared with me, not football related, about the sport that you were almost an Olympic champion for?
Chook ball.
Yeah, chook ball. So tell everyone what's chook ball.
Oh crikey, where do I start? Chook ball is like a handball type game, played on like a sort of basketball court,
right?
With like a little trumpet at the end of each sort of scoring zone.
I see.
And yeah, you score a point by bouncing the ball against the trumpet and it landing on the court, and the defending team have to try and catch it, stop it going on the court. It's end to end. It's a sport I picked up at university, just trying something new, and made it to the Team UK squad, but picked up an injury just before the World Games in Colombia. So.
Would it have been like an expense flight all the way to Colombia and everything?
Well, that's the other sticking point. It would have been a self-funded trip to Cali in Colombia, which at university I probably wouldn't have gone regardless. But I like to say it's because of injury, which I did. I sprained my ankle, so I genuinely couldn't go. But it was a convenient excuse.
So you did say on one of our first discussions ever that you were always the kid in sort of, the year 3, year 4, year 5 parties when you're sort of 7, 8, 9, 10. You were always the kid in 3/4 length trackies, some AstroTurfs, and a football shirt. So what would the AstroTurfs have been? What
total
brand
90s.
would total 90s? What would the 3/4 trackies have been? Adidas, Puma,
No, there'd have been probably an Umbro or something from Sports Direct or Sport and Soccer.
And what about the shirt would have been Bolton?
Do you know what I did have a fair few Bolton shirts. I had a couple of Liverpool shirts as well. I had a lot of England shirts, and then a load of weird sort of international ones. I had a Real Madrid Luis Figo shirt.
Yes.
I had a Real Mallorca shirt.
Very nice.
Which was just one from a family holiday over there. I had a Zimbabwe international shirt.
Niche.
Chicago Fire from the MLS. Yeah, I had a few sort of from all over the world. I literally just lived in football shirts. So.
Yeah, didn't we all? Those were the days. The best thing about them was you'd run around in them, and like you wouldn't, obviously because of the cereal and stuff, you wouldn't sweat as much. But yeah, many a great time in a football shirt. So Bolton then. So none of your family actually live in Bolton. You weren't born in Bolton, were you? Or were you?
No, I wasn't. So my dad is a Bolton fan.
Yeah.
My dad's actually from South Yorkshire, but his dad, my granddad, and the family moved over to the Bolton area when my dad was sort of 3 or 4 years old. So he sort of grew up as a Bolton fan. His sister, my auntie, was actually a Bury fan. So, and my mum's side, they're more rugby league fans, but if they were to say who they supported, it'd be Bury. They're sort of they lived in the sort of village in between Bury and Bolton. So I went to a lot of Bury games, went to a lot of Bolton games when I was younger. It's an affliction my dad really has given me. See, I don't have the accent, but yeah, I've been Bolton fan pretty much my whole life.
Good. Well, you've seen the good times and the bad times alike. Just before we get into sort of earlier life and a bit more into Bolton, we'll just do a really quick Bolton five-a-side team. So you've got 2 options, and we're going to go for, obviously, the keeper, 1 defender, 2 midfielders, 1 striker. So I know the answer to this one, but I'll ask it anyway. Bogdan or Jussi Jääskeläinen in net?
Jussi.
Gardner or Ngotti?
I was a big Ricardo Gardner fan. Yeah, I mean, he played on the wing a lot. Actually, he was a left back, I think, by trade. He did play on the wing a lot. Scored quite a few goals on the left wing. Yeah, but
All right. JJ or Dennis Politic?
The FIFA career mode manager in me will want to say Dennis Politic, but no, Jay is probably the best player ever to wear a Bolton shirt, I'd say.
I actually think this one might be quite a hard one. Speed or Kevin Nolan?
So if I got JJ, so what, I'm playing one defender, two
midfielders, one striker.
So, and who's going to pair best with JJ? I'll say Kevin Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then up top, Idager Johnson or Jufi?
I really liked LH Juve. But obviously Good Johnson. So whereas Juve went on to play, he played for Liverpool, didn't he? But played for what, like Leeds?
Doncaster, Blackburn, Doncaster, Rangers.
Good Johnson went on to sort of Chelsea and Barcelona. Which is I think came back to Bolton, and we had a starting lineup with including Good Johnson and Heskey with a combined age of about 79, I think, in the Championship a few years ago.
Oh God! See, that's just that Championship goal.
Yeah, but I think I really liked LH Juve when I was younger. I remember going to the games, and when they do like the announcements about half an hour before kickoff, and everyone in the LH Juve starting, and everyone in the ground just booing him. But it's like part of the
ritual.
Yeah.
Well, my life's ambition is to always be the pantomime villain, so Juve gets the respect from me. So you going for Juve over Good Johnson?
I will go for Juve over Good Johnson, yeah.
All right, so we've got Jussi in there, rolling it out to Gardner. JJ to obviously do whatever he wants with Nolan doing all the legwork. And then Juve, you're either finishing the game winning 10-0 or with 4 men on the pitch. So, but yeah, an interesting five-a-side team. I would love to see how many arguments between Nolan and Juve would take place on that pitch.
Can I have a sub?
Yeah, go on then.
So I would. He was a midfielder by trade, but I'd have him sort of a CDM, and he did start his career as a centre back. So I'd have him in. If I was picking, if you didn't give me the choices, I'd have Ivan Campo.
Campo, yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that, because I did look at him and think I might include Campo, but I thought, because of his prestige and his heritage, it would just he'd be straight in. And who would be managing this team? Aladici or Friedman?
Aladici, of course.
Aladici, of course. Yeah. Of course. Right, so now you're a bit more relaxed. So, you obviously mucked about in the AstroTurfs and you had all those tops and stuff, but in the garden, like, who did you want to be or on the playground, who did you want to be?
Yeah, my favourite player, it wasn't a Bolton player, it was Michael Owen, was my
popular one on this podcast.
My hero growing up. I think, I guess like our age, and he was like the wonder boy, wasn't he? In those kind of formative years. So yeah, Michael Owen, definitely. I used to watch Michael Owen Soccer School. Did you watch that?
Was it on Sky?
I had a video box set of it I used to watch like on repeat, but you must have seen the videos of him like pelting like a 13-year-old goalkeeper. You've seen that, of course, so I used to watch that a lot, and actually my dad took me to Anfield to watch Bolton versus Liverpool once, but were
you sat in the Bolton end?
No, we sat in the Liverpool end, because it was sort of that I was a football fan before I was a Bolton fan, I guess. And, I went to watch Michael Owen, not to watch Bolton, and he was awful. My early memory of really that game was when he had a shot which went out for a throw-in. So it was a bit underwhelming, but
one of my earliest memories of Owen was, and contrary to popular belief, I actually liked England then. in 2004 when they played Portugal in the quarter-final, where it was in Portugal. I was eating my dinner at the table, watching it, and I remember him getting put through, and Ricardo comes out to save it, and he lobs him. And I thought England would go on to win, but they obviously didn't. But yeah, Owen, very popular choice. So you football fan before you're a Bolton fan. What was the first Bolton game you went to see, or the first shirt you got, or the first moment where you thought, I'm Bolton till I die now?
I don't remember my first Bolton game. I went to my dad's insisted that I've been several times to Burnden Park, which I have no memory of whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, I think we moved to the Reebok in '99 or something like that, 1999.
Right.
So I went to a few games before then, but I've got a lot of memories at the Reebok. I can't tell you the year and stuff, but yeah, because I didn't live in Bolton. I used to go visit my grandparents there, so I'd only go to maybe like 2 or 3 games a year when we went up for like a weekend. And so I went to Gig Lane at Bury probably more than I went to the Reebok. Apparently I nearly caused a fight once at a Bury Bolton like pre-season game when I was about 3 or 4. Because I was in the Bury end with my auntie and I was cheering on Bolton, and some hooligan tried to shut me up when I was about 3 or 4 years old. But yeah, I used to actually, because I grew up in Lincolnshire as well, so I used to go to Lincoln games quite a lot, because I was part of a I don't think it was as formal as like an academy, but I was in some sort of like grassroots, I guess, sort of set up with Lincoln, where I got free tickets and my dad would get a half price ticket.
Yeah.
So I used to go to those games quite a lot as well, which was always good. They play at Lincoln when there's ever a corner. They play like an air raid siren,
right?
Like, I think like homage to the sort of the RAF links to the city.
Yeah.
And things like that I remember, and like the rattles that used to.
That Leicester, all the Leicester fans are always.
So I had one of them. Yeah, it was a bit of a mix really. My early memories.
Very good. So more recently, then, for those that don't know, me and Ben work together, and we are both based very much in the south. You go to quite a few away games. What's been the best away game you've been to this season?
This season, where have I been this season? I haven't seen that many good games this season, actually. I mean, MK Dons was the one I went to a couple of weeks ago. Just for a stadium point of view, I'd say that stadium's ridiculous for League One and for that team. I did. It's actually the best game is one I didn't go to in the end. I can't remember if I told you this one, actually. I had tickets for Oxford away about a month, 6 weeks ago, or something like that.
Yes.
3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. My car broke down on the Friday evening. I had obviously a ticket to the game. I went out on Twitter, like any like Bolton fans from sort of the southeast, like, you know, going to be driving past, basically can pick me up, and went sort of semi viral on Twitter. I did speak to one lad, but he wasn't coming back. He was driving back up to Manchester on his way back to work, and I promised the missus it was our Valentine's Day, so I had to get back in the evening, so I didn't go to that game, and we won that 3-2 with a like 87th minute winner against like a promotion rival, which it was so that's probably the best game, even though I didn't go to it, because all the other games I think we've lost I've been to this year.
So just do me a quick whistle stop then. What stadiums have you been to since you've been out of the Premier League?
I went to we played West Ham in the Cup. Went to London Stadium there. Palace as well. That was FA Cup. I thought I'd go to that one because I was living in London. Go to Palace. Yeah. Obviously, also in London. Yeah. I think it was like 8 o'clock kickoff, whatever. I didn't get back till 1 a.m.
What did you have to do? Is it train from Selhurst Park?
It's like an overground from some place in London never heard of, and it's just going on forever. Yeah, so those are probably some of the bigger ground. But then I've been to, like your Gillinghams and
Yeah,
your South Ends, like the
yeah,
proper little like garden sheds. But they're the grounds I love.
yeah.
And actually, the last game I went to before like the lockdown was Wimbledon.
Right.
Before they've just moved into a new ground now, which I also went to this season actually.
Mhm.
Um, but their old ground, I can't remember what it's called now, but I was literally, I appreciate we're on a Zoom call, but like as close
Yeah,
as you and I appear to be, as close as I am to my screen,
yeah,
almost like the
yeah.
dugout. I've never been that close to sort of like a League One
Hmm.
like professional game before, and it was like a Sunday league game, but obviously watching professionals, that was really good. I love that sort of atmosphere when you're right packed in really close.
Have you been to Exeter?
No, I've not. No, St James's Park. I've been past the grounds.
Yeah, because you've mentioned that a few times that you've seen it. The Fortress, as I would Exeter probably.
Was it best like home record in all four leagues or something? Is
It
that
must be because the sort of teams that are playing Exeter, I always think if you're, I'm just going to get it up so we can actually have a real life example. Because I must like look at it and think if you're, God, I don't know, Port Vale, right, and you're travelling all the way down to Exeter for a 12 o'clock kickoff. Just picture that. You've got to get up. You're not travelling in luxury like Arsenal and Chelsea and the rest of them. You're absolutely shattered. You get there and you think, what on earth is this? And then you just end up getting done in. So Exeter, fantastic. So when you were obviously going to quite a few away ones this season, do you feel that there's a lot goes above people's heads, particularly in terms of when everyone speaks now about football being gone and it being just about money, and people go to the games, they don't care, it's more of an American sporting venue than actually about supporting a team. Do you feel that when you go to those Gillinghams and the Exeters or the Salfords or wherever, that you do get that working class, and I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to, working class feel of it's just about supporting the team and it's part of my identity rather than it being a franchise?
Yeah, I love an away day. I started going to them so since I've been in London and working, so earning a bit of earning some money myself and able to sort of go to. I started going with one of
Yeah.
my mates. We used to go. We went quite a few of these sort of grounds where you mentioned, but then he moved off to he got a job out in Rotterdam. Took my girlfriend to a couple. She's not that into football. But then there was one game actually. I remember it really well. It was in our League One bounce back season. We went to Southend away.
Yes.
It was quite close to the end of the season, and my mate he basically missed the train, so I went on my own. It was the first time going on my own to a game. I was a bit like apprehensive about it actually, but I realized actually going on my own, like that you're not on your own, if that makes sense. Like you're part of this like community. So easy to like chat to people, and it was a Tuesday night game. I got the train out of Stratford in London where I was living, so it was only like an hour or so for me, but there was people who traveled all the way down from Bolton for this Tuesday night game in this little shed in Southend. We ended up scoring Mark Beaver's 89th minute winner to win 1-0, which basically put us into second place and almost like guaranteed out our automatic promotion slot. And just hugging straight, like, and I've been to, like, I went to a Tottenham game not too long ago, and it's so, I mean, you got what, it wasn't full ground. It was one of their Europa League games or
it was against
some Slovenian.
That's it. Yeah.
But it was such a weird atmosphere. So many people just sort of standing around chatting, like not really watching the game. Whereas in these kind of League One games that you go into, like Bolton, Gillingham, the only people that are at those games are people that are diehard Gillingham or diehard Bolton games. Like no one is you don't get casual fans there really. And that brings this sort of atmosphere that I think is unrivaled. And I know I've said this to you before, like obviously football's all relative, but I would I'll quite happily, Bolton never get back in the Premier League, to be quite honest with you, and keep traveling around and going to these like smaller grounds, meeting people. And you have like a lot of places you don't have like home and away pubs as well. Like you can like actually meet for some of the like rival fans and have a bit of banter, and it's all in good spirit. And that's what I love about sort of lower league football. I think a lot of like Premier League armchair fans, I know you like to call them.
Me? Never.
I do think some of these, they might have lost a little bit of touch with football. If I'm being honest, I think I'd encourage people to just go to one of their local games, even if it's National League or like Conference North or South or whatever. Like, so much good fun than watching. I'd rather watch I've been to Enfield Town. Well, I live in Enfield. Enfield Town. I don't even know what league they're in, to be honest. Like 8th T or something.
Right.
I'll take that over watching Liverpool on the telly, for example, like any day.
Very good. So it's all about soaking it in. Which stadium's been the hardest to get to? Where if you're going on public transport, which one's like miles away from the train station? And you're like,
Wickham's quite a way away. First time I went there was on the train. I went this year actually and drove, which was much better. But that's a good 3 miles, I think, from the station. What else? See, a lot of the older grounds are kind of in town, which quite easy, and a lot of obviously clubs at this level have older grounds. But I mean, I've already mentioned it, but that Selhurst Park, honestly, it was a right nightmare to get to.
So let's say because I actually inquired about this one a few weeks ago. If you were, let's say, to go with your mates to Stadium of Light, so you meet at King's Cross or wherever to get the train to Sunderland, what beers do you get for the train?
Whatever's in M&S.
M&S. To be fair, I had a Czech lager from there recently. They've got their own little branded like Czechs or M&S Czech lager or something like that. It was really good.
I quite often, like the pre-mixed gin and tonics. Like
they're great.
Yeah. I quite often get them on the train actually going to. I don't have a tipple of choice, to be honest with you. It's whatever I first grab.
Lovely. And what about Bolton then, and sort of where you are now? Because obviously this is for you to discuss, and it's very much your time. But I do remember one of the first conversations we had when speaking about it, you said a lot of people, particularly myself, falls into this category. That because when I was young and in primary school and stuff, Bolton were always there. So for me, like, you lost a bit of that vintage Alan Kirbishley Charlton, Aladici Bolton Premier League when you guys got relegated. But you've sort of always maintained that you were very much overachieving and sort of leave. Maybe pushing and being healthy in the Championship is where you should be. So I would like to get your thoughts on that. And also tell me about the manner in which you were relegated from the Premier League. Wasn't it one of those where if VAR or goal lines or whatever it was there now, Bogdan actually saved it or something like that, Jonathan Walters? Connect all those dots, because I know I'm somewhat right.
Do you know what I remember about that day? Was the that was the day that City won the title for the first time.
Yeah.
Against QPR. I was at a pub, everyone going mental around me with that, Aguero. And for me, I was just looking at my phone, seeing that Bolton had just been relegated, so I was just like sat there. So I didn't watch the game. To be honest, I couldn't recall the game, so it was obviously it wasn't one of the televised games, but and I'll be honest with you, I sort of that was my first year of university, that when we got relegated. And I've always been like a keen sportsman. Football's just been one of the many things I followed. And when we got relegated, I didn't watch as much as for a few years really. I sort of always checked the scores and stuff, but I couldn't tell you for a few years really like who our best players were. And it was only when I moved to London after university and went to a Charlton game that kind of refound my love. Bolton playing Charlton. I really sort of found my love. Oh God, that was just my answer to one of your earlier questions. Best away game this season. That was definitely Charlton. We won 4-1. Went 1-0 down and won 4-1. That was I kind of forgot about that. Another nightmare of a stadium to get to, by the way, despite it being in London. It's but yeah, I obviously grew up with Bolton. We were always that team that no one liked to play. You know, we were never as good as, you know, back then, you sort of your Chelsea's, United's, your Liverpool's, your Arsenal's,
Leeds.
Your Leeds,
Yes,
with Alan Smith crying on TV. Yeah, I remember that.
In a Bolton shirt, funnily enough. I was actually going to say that was my first memory of Bolton, because you beat us on the last day, and he must have swapped shirts and he put that shirt on.
So I remember we were never as good as, you know, some of these big clubs, but we always got results, it seemed, you know. I think Arsenal in particular, I think we became a bit of a bogey team, and obviously those the Channel 5 nights on Thursday night, Channel 5 watching us against, you know, Bayern Munich and Madrid, and it was obviously a lot, you know. I do think we were overachieving. I probably shouldn't say that, but I do think we were overachieving. I think people, like you say, still think of us, you know, last season we were in 20th in League Two at one point, and it's quite the fall from grace, I think, to be, you know, from the Allianz Arena to St James's Park in Exeter on the Tuesday night. It's quite it is quite the fall from grace, but and obviously, you know, I don't know how much you know or how much was publicly about all the kind of stuff with our owner that, you know, kind of caused that free fall, just like the massive amounts of debts and things like that, and these dodgy payday loans, and I think, to be honest, I'm grateful just we were a club. We nearly went the same way as Bury, you know, obviously, like I said, I've got some family ties too, and it's it's a shame. It's a shame that we did that did happen. But I think really where we are now is sort of mid-table League One. We should be looking to be a mid-table Championship team, and that's kind of where I'm looking for us to get in the next year or two.
Good. So I have actually found, and I knew that I wasn't going totally crazy. Owen Coyle's side went a goal down in controversial circumstances in the 13th minute, when Walters appeared to knock the ball out of Adam Bogdan's hands into the net. That was it. So yeah, it was when you drew with Stoke on the last day, you went down by a point. I think it was that Bogdan had it in his hands and Walters had knocked it out, and it should have been completely disallowed, and you probably would have gone on to win the game. But that seems to have cursed you forever, because I remember you went down, and you said that it was it the first or second season in the Championship? You weren't like pushing for playoffs, but you were in the conversation. And then after that,
we had a good squad that first season down. So I'd sort of not following us closely when we went down, which is probably a you know, the type of thing that I kind of score on the people in our age who only focus on the top 20 teams in the country. But it was kind of like growing up with it early in the Premier League. I'm in the Championship now. I didn't really appreciate how good a league the Championship is. I think we challenged that first season because we still had the majority of our squad. But it was, I think, even if we'd have stayed up that season, inevitably we hadn't been good for a couple of years at that point. So yeah, and then it was a few years in the Championship, down to League One, back up to Championship.
Did you just, as soon as you went down to League One, you just bounced back up?
The first time, the first time we did, and then the second time we went down to League One, that was the season that got curtailed because of COVID on the points per game, and we'd been docked points as well for administration, things like that. Right. So we then went straight down to League Two as well.
So you did a Leeds, but worse than Leeds.
Yeah.
You did I suppose, what did you do? An Ipswich, Bradford, maybe. So yeah, I mean, but that season in the Championship, I have to ask about Wilbraham, and I'll let you share the name that you coined him to me. What was that like? Were you at that game? Because
No, I wasn't at the
that
game.
seems to have been like the best for someone like that little Thogden kid who does all the YouTube. That seems to have been like the best day of his life supporting Bolton.
Yeah, I remember that so clearly though. I wasn't at the game. I was actually it's before my missus and I were living together. I was living with some mates in East London, and we were having a barbecue that day. It was my housemate's birthday, and I'd Katie had come round. It was like the first time introducing some of my friends. But the barbecue started at sort of like 4 o'clock or whatever, and I was in our living room kneeling down in front of the TV. I'd kind of welcomed Katie and loads of other people I'd never met before were all walking past me. I was kneeling at the TV watching Gillette Soccer Saturday. Because we needed to win that game, but also we needed was it Barnsley, and I can't remember, we needed 2 other games to go like in our favor as well, and those games were going in our favor. We were 2-1 down or something with like 80, 80, I can't remember the exact timings, but it's 80 something minute, and then Adam Lafondra came off the bench, and then I think the first one, he like crossed it in for David Wheater, scored the first, our second, to make it 2-2. And then 89th, 90th minute, something like that. Wilbrahimovic, as he's forever known in North Manchester. Got his head on a Lafondra cross for us to beat Forest. Forest were a good team that season as well.
Yeah,
I think
they were. That was when they had Osborne and I think they might have even had Bonatini that season on loan from Wolves. They were a good side.
Yeah, and honestly, when Jeff said, and we've got another goal from the Macron Stadium, I think it was called then, and I was just like praying it was for us. But yeah, I got very drunk that day. Had some stern words the next day about how I should actually introduce my girlfriend to my friends in the future.
Yes.
But yeah, a very good day. One I wish I was at.
Yeah, very good. So before we sort of jump onto the quiz and hear about your all-time Bolton XI, Ben started working at the place where I worked around about last Easter or something. So a lot of the football stuff was sort of dominated by the Euros. So yeah, go on then. Tell me how good Southgate is and how he isn't a waistcoat fraud, even though it's quite clear he is. Do you think England will win something in one of our lifetimes? And I don't mean the Nations League. I actually mean the World Cup or the
World Cup for Euros. I do think we'll win. I think losing a final, the experience that you get from that, especially with our squad, is just so young. I do think we'll win something, and I do think Southgate will be the one. I don't know if we'll win this World Cup, but I would put us as favourites for the next Euros. But I can see us getting to the semis again in the World Cup it's this year, isn't it? This winter.
Yeah, this winter.
It's coming fast. I'm not sure about the World Cup. I think we're still, you've got players like Saka, and I mean Kane's obviously in his prime now, but so many of our, Phillips, Declan Rice, so many of our kind of core are like 20, like early 20s, like ridiculously young. Phil Foden, I think another 4 or 5 years of experience, caps, maybe more, like each winning their own kind of trophies at club level as well. I think we'll be in really good shape in a few years.
Who is the worst England manager in your lifetime that you can think of out of all of them?
I mean, it's probably my favourite Bolton manager, isn't it?
Yeah. So just humour me.
Although actually, doesn't he have the best win percentage?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If so, with 100% Aladici, do England not get out of a group of Belgium, Tunisia, and Panama in the 2018? But yes, they do. They do beat a half-fit Colombia team with no James Rodriguez. They do beat a Sweden team without Ibra. And yes, they lose to Croatia. I mean, come on. This last tournament, the group stage, who was it? Scotland, Croatia, decent side, fair enough, and Czech Republic. And then it was Ukraine in the quarterfinals, Denmark in the semi-finals, and then obviously the Kingdom of Italy, much better team.
You can only play what's put in front of you, can't you?
You have that precisely, which is why when a terrible Portugal squad clambered to get out of a group of Iceland, Hungary, and who else was it? No. This is. I'm on about Euro 2016.
Oh right.
But Portugal had a really easy group, and then they had an easy run that was like Poland, Croatia, and then they played Wales, and then they had France in the final, and they beat France because they had to beat France because you're never going to get a run like that again. And if you don't win it, then you're never going to win it. And they all would have been a bunch of frauds, particularly Ronaldo, who only played, I think, 16 minutes of that final. If England get a proper group, like if England had Portugal's group in the last ones, which was Germany, France, and Hungary, do you think England would have got out of that group?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, I mean, let's remember we didn't lose the final there. We lost on a penalty shootout.
Well, still losing though, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it's losing, but you know, Italy couldn't beat us over 90 minutes either. Like the champions of Europe, best team in Europe, as they know what, they couldn't beat us over 90 minutes, couldn't beat us over 120 minutes. And you know, their team as well, I think they do have what I think we're lacking in that kind of experience, you know, that we'll hopefully have with the core of our team in the next sort of 5 or 6 years.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We will. So Bolton quiz. I actually think you will do very well on this one. I think you're going to get. Hang on. I think you'll get. I reckon you get 7 or 8 out of 10 here.
Really?
Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to means test it with Mays, but he would have got 0. So.
So this is a quiz just all about Bolton, is it?
More or less.
Right, okay.
Who is joint Bolton's third time record, like all-time record appearance holder?
Third time?
That's right, Ben.
But there's going to be loads of players that played in like the 40s, 50s, 60s that I've never heard of.
Well, I'll give you a clue. You've certainly heard of this one.
Right, okay.
His son's called Will.
Okay, right. That's Jussi Jääskeläinen.
Yes.
That was too good. That was too easy a hint. That.
Yeah, but you are my line manager, so I will give you that. Let's just share that fact with the listeners that Jussi Jääskeläinen's son is called William Jääskeläinen.
Yeah.
Just Will.
Thick Bolton accent as well.
Second question: how much was Johan Elmander? Bolton's record signing.
Oh, I've got no idea. I reckon like 15.
God no, maybe 15 Canadian dollars.
Wait, record signing we signed or to sell? No, we didn't sell him.
Yeah, how much did you sign Elmander for?
I signed him. Yeah, I'll go 15 million. That's probably
8.2.
Was it? I thought we signed Anelka for more than that. I think we signed Anelka for like 9, didn't we?
No, I think that you sold Anelka for a lot.
We saw, yeah. I think he was definitely our record sale.
So yeah.
Oh, no, I'll go on. I'll trust you on that.
No. I'm an honest critic, unlike everyone else that you know.
Well, I got the question wrong anyway. If Elmander was definitely 8.2. His goal came up on Twitter again recently. Did you see that? The one where he like twists and turns. Yeah.
Fantastic goal. Anelka was 8 million.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was 8 million. Who scored a brace for Bayern München in the match versus Bolton on the 8th of the 11th, 2007?
See, I know the Bolton goal scorers, which is Ricardo Gardner and Kevin Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Who scored for?
You've got to think who'd be in that sort of 2007. I think that's sort of Lahm,
Yeah.
maybe Hargreaves kind of era with Luca
I don't, I
Toni,
don't, I
etc.
don't know if Hargreaves was. He might have been. I'm not sure. He was always injured, though, wasn't he?
Mm.
Was Frank Ribery, was he there then?
It isn't Ribery, I'll give you that. It isn't Ribery.
I couldn't tell you. No
Right,
idea.
I'll name two of this guy's other clubs: Arsenal and FC Cologne, or Cologne to the English speaker.
I'm guessing he's a German then. I guess he went.
He was born in Gliwice in Poland,
Okay.
but he was a German international footballer. He played for Germany at 3, 4 World Cups. I think 3.
Oh, really? He's German that's played for Arsenal. So I don't know my European football that well, so I'm trying to think what Germans that play for Arsenal.
I think he did score a brace in the 4-1 defeat of England in 2010. It isn't Miroslav Klose before you start thinking him.
Go on, I don't know.
Lucas Podolski.
Okay. Yeah, I check me on. I'm pretty sure I got the Bolton goal scorers right, but no, I wouldn't know who the German goal scorer was.
I'll check that. I'll check that at the end. Now, I didn't know this, so you should get this right, because this is a question or a bit of trivia that you shared with me. Nicky Hunt shares a Premier League debut with which world-renowned superstar?
Yeah, people always call it the Ronaldo game, don't they? But everyone forgets Nicky Hunt made his debut at right back as well, man marking Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, that was
Nicky Hunt.
There's a highlight as well of that. Obviously, loads of highlights of Ronaldo that because it came up on Twitter when he re-signed this season, and there's one where I think Nicky Hunt's had to buy a ticket to get back in the ground. He's absolutely twisted him inside out.
To be fair, Ronaldo owes it all to Nicky Hunt, because I think if Hunt just went clean through him and knocked his confidence, Ronaldo would have been loaned back to Portugal and you never would have heard from him again. It was a sliding doors moment. So thank you very much, Nicky Hunt. In terms of the next one, I did enjoy this one. On August 30th, 2019, Bolton played Everton under-21s in the Football League Trophy. Please, can I get the attendance to the nearest 100 in the ground that night?
We at home? At the Reebok?
Yeah.
So the nearest 100?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 700.
No, it was a bit more than that. It was 1,500. But I imagine that does include maybe 200-300 Everton fans.
The mums and dads.
Name the 3 players that Bolton have received over 5 million for in transfer fees.
Oh, Anelka.
Yep.
Well, you said that one. See, there's some good players we've had, but I don't think like Gary Cahill, for example. But I think we sold him for peanuts. I don't think he would have been over 5. I'm right. It's ridiculous. If this is, I think it was over 5. I think it was 6 million, which is ridiculous. But you often quite see me at our work meetings holding a Bolton player mug that I drink my coffee out of.
Gary Medine.
Gary
washing
Medine.
Machine. Gary Medine. Washing machine.
I can't believe Gary Medine's one of our highest ever transfers.
So last one.
Was it 2 people or 3 people? Would you want?
So 3 people. So you've had Anelka, you've had washing machine, and the other one.
Who else sold for over 5 million? Good Johnson? I don't know.
No. You'll be annoyed that you didn't just go with it.
Go on.
Cahill.
Was Cahill? Was it
7 million?
Was it?
Ish.
But I think because he was probably worth sort of 20, and so I remember I think we sold him with like either like 12 or 6 months left in his contract or something. So we had to get some in for him before we went for nothing. Okay.
Right. Can you please name the 4 Bolton players who took part in the 2010 World Cup?
2010 World Cup.
And to be fair, I'm going to give you the countries. All right. Nigeria, People's Republic of South Korea, Slovakia, the United States of America.
So Lee Chung-yong or Chongi.
Yeah. He's one.
Stuart Holden.
Stuart Holden, two.
Nigeria. 2010. What's an Amiobi, was it? No. Was it Danny Shittu? Is it actually?
Yeah,
Is it actually?
Danny Shittu.
Where's it? Slovakian, you say?
Yeah, he was on loan at Bolton.
Oh, God, I'm not good with loan players.
He played for City and Glasgow Rangers in his career. I think he might still be playing.
I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going to get that one. No.
Vladimir Weiss.
No, I wouldn't have got that in a million years.
Interesting. All right then. So not too bad. Can it be redeemed with the last three? How many times have Bolton won the FA Cup?
Oh, I should know this because
You should.
I already bought a program at MK Dons last week, and I was reading. They have a little section about our visitors, of which obviously Bolton were.
Yes.
We've not won it. I think we won it in like the 50s, and then before then we won it. It's either 3 or 4. I'm trying to think. So we won it. I think we won it in like a couple of times, at least twice in the 20s.
Yeah.
And then won it again in the 50s, but we might win it 3 times in the 20s. I'll go for 4.
Correct.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm doing it right here. Still can't believe I pulled Danny Shittu out, but
to the nearest percentage. What was Dougie Freedman's win percentage at Bolton?
It must be low. Well, we had Dougie Freedman in our second season in Europe, I think. Or was it our first season in Europe? I can't remember. I'm gonna say like 40%.
Not that good. 34.34%. Yeah.
I knew it wouldn't be great.
Now you should get this one. Who assisted Wilbraham's goal against Forest? Who swung their boot in?
I think I've already said that when I described it. Was it? I'm pretty sure it was Lafondra.
It was Lafondra. So you have got 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing is, you got 4 dead right. You got 2 out of 3 with the 3 Bolton players who received over 5 million, and you got 3 of the 4 Bolton players. So it's not a bad return. I expected you to get Elmander. I did actually expect you to get Podolski, but not bad. You got.
But you didn't expect me to get Danny Shittu though, did you?
No, I didn't. I knew you. I actually thought Vladimir Weiss would be one of the first. I thought you'd go Weiss, Holden, Chung Young, and I thought you. I don't know. I thought you probably think there might have been someone who snuck into the England squad, or I'm trying to think who else.
We haven't had an England player, I don't think, since Kevin Davis. His one cap.
Yes.
I mean, Cahill obviously went on to captain England, but after he'd left us.
Brilliant.
Sturridge as well, but
yeah.
And Wilshire's played for England, isn't he?
Yeah, Wilsh, yeah.
But yeah, I think Kevin Davis was our last actual England player.
So to finish us off, because the listeners are dying to know, as am I, all-time Bolton XI. Let us know the manager and formation first.
Right, well, 4-4-2, because I'm Sam Allardyce 4-4-2.
Yeah.
I mean, the goalkeeper's not up for debate. It's clearly, I don't think anyone's ever been as good as Jussi Jääskeläinen. I mean, some old chap might tell me about some bloke in the 50s I've never heard of, but Jääskeläinen is one of the best keepers in the Premier League, I think, for a number of years.
Yeah, top player. As Paul Wilson says, top player.
Right, so okay, all-time 11. Defenders.
Declan John got to be in there.
No, Ricardo Gardner's one of my favourite players when I was younger, so I'll have him at left back.
Yeah.
I think right back. I mean, he's definitely not. We already mentioned it, but he's a bit of like a club icon. Nicky Hunt. There's not many. He's actually from
Bolton. Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually from Bolton.
Hunty going in at right back then.
Yeah, well, there's actually a famous Bolton chant that will suggest that he actually fills out every single position on this team sheet, because we all dream of a team of Nicky Hunts, as the song goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll put Nicky Hunt in right back. Do you know who he actually played for? I think he's more known as a Blackburn player, but I really liked when I was younger. One of the first players that I remember was Colin Hendry. Because he played for Scotland and with really short shorts. Do you remember that? And the blonde mullet.
God, that is a blast. That's a blast at the past. That's back to the Fruit Winder days and the Umbongo days.
I'm not. I mean, I think Gary Cahill probably is the best centre half that's played for Bolton. However, we didn't get the best of him. So I am gonna go with Ngotti. I think over Cahill. We've had Rob Holding as well, who's at Arsenal, isn't he? He came through our academy, but I think players that were probably at their best at Bolton. I think.
So back five: Yossi, Gardner, Ngotti, Hunty at right back. Who's the other centre back? Cahill.
No, I said Colin Hendry, but actually I'm going to change that to David Wheater.
Centre back.
So I'm going to go Wheater and Bruno Ngotti.
All right, well, we're conceding only about 0.8 goals a game there, so you'd probably be all right thus far. All right, then, to the two centre mids first. I'm going to guess and say Kevin Nolan and Jay Spearing.
No, this is a tricky one because there's actually three players that are jumping out to me, which is Kevin Nolan, Ivan Campo, and JJ Okocha. But I think with JJ, I do think he's the best player Bolton have ever had. Sort of as in plays like a Nelka and stuff like that. But who played their best football at Bolton. I mean, but he could play on the wing. He could play up front.
Yeah.
So I might go Campo and Nolan as the two sort of holding.
Yeah.
I might change this to a 4-2-3-1.
Okay. Yeah. Can be done.
With JJ as the number 10.
Number 10.
Yeah. I mean, he Okocha was. I mean, he was honestly. He was a player that I remember going to games and he was a player you just couldn't take your eyes off him. When he picked the ball up and the whole crowd,
everyone leans forward.
Yeah, I'd say a collective intake of breath because I mean, and a lot of the time he would lose possession, but he would do it in a way that at least that you didn't mind.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember chatting to one of my dad's mates about this. Obviously a little bit older than me. I think obviously people talk about his skill on the ball, but he was strong and powerful. The long throws as well. He had so much of his game. And he was probably one of my favorite players growing up. So yeah, he's definitely in there. I'm happy with that actually. Nolan and Campo dropping deep, and then giving JJ free license to kind of roam across the front three. Yeah.
Wingers, Beavers. Yeah.
The centre half.
Yeah. Stick him there for an Aladici knockdown.
I'm gonna go. So let's have a think. Stelios, possibly.
Sammy Amiobi.
See, Sammy Obi was good. We had him in League One, like Championship League One. He was good,
Yeah.
but we've had better players in like Chungi
Yeah.
was good. Stuart Holden
Mhm.
was obviously more of a centre mid, but could probably play there. I'm gonna go Mark Davis
Yeah.
on the right wing.
Mhm.
And maybe Jufi on the left.
Yeah, go on. Stick him in. Juve.
You'd rather Jufi on your team than on the opposite team, wouldn't you? He's one of them
Yes.
players. Yeah.
And then is it going to be an Elka up top?
It's not. It's going to be. I obviously mentioned JJ there as one of my all-time favorite
Yeah.
Bolton players, but
Uh-huh.
my ultimate favorite Bolton player, Kevin Davis.
Elmander doesn't get in the team. I'm
No,
surprised.
Kevin Davis, like 300 odd appearances, something. You say our last England player.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I've not played football in a long time, but I modelled my striker game on Kevin Davis.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
then. So the team we've got is Aladici. And what's he wearing? A suit or a tracksuit?
A suit.
Okay. And has it got the Bolton like finish
Maybe
on?
actually he's wearing shirt and tie with a
Yeah.
tracksuit top.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got Jaskalainen in net
Yeah.
with Gardner, Wheater, and Gotti and Hunty as the back four.
Yeah.
Holding two of Nolan, who I assume it has the captain's armband.
It's either him or JJ.
I thought you were going to say Juve then.
Can you imagine?
So Nolan and Campo as the holding ones, with Juve and Mark Davis on the wings. Okocha playing in the sort of that free number 10 role with Kevin Davis up top.
I like that. I thought that's a good team.
Everyone in form at the top. Where does that finish in the Premier League? 8th, 9th?
That's
7th? 6th?
I mean, if Leicester can win the league, no,
Oh.
joking. That's a top 10 finish, I reckon.
Yeah, if everyone stays fit, then yeah, probably, yeah. And then Aladici can finally get the respect he deserves.
I mean, he'll keep us up, definitely. That's for sure. With Allardyce,
you're not going down. You're not going down. Brilliant.
And that's a team no one would like to play as well. People aren't circling that one on the calendar. No one's going to want to go up to the Macron or the University of Bolton Stadium.
Yeah, of course, the University of Bolton Stadium. Yeah, that'd be horrible. What's that like to get to?
It's not too bad. It's an out of town ground.
Yeah,
and there is a train station. There's a massive car park and stuff. So
uh-huh.
I've not been. Do you know what? I've not been to a home game since we've left the Prem. So that's what 2012, 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't really tell you, to be honest, but it's relatively just off the motorway. You can see it off the motorway. Yeah.
All right, lovely. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Ben. Been an absolute pleasure. Guys, do please feel free to follow us. Do feel free to share this podcast. And everyone have a terrific week.